Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to grecochess, the channel of chess where we discuss, we analyze, we comment, and we talk about all aspects of the game of chess. And it's time to continue facing the bots. When I started this series, my plan was to continue playing until I would lose a game, and unfortunately, this game came a little bit earlier than expected, but then I resumed. I was finally able to defeat a mirror with black pieces on my third attempt, and I'm continuing, although I had a few setbacks in the meantime. But so long as I can defeat a bot, even though it may take more than one attempt, I'm continuing. And now it is time for the next bot, Wilson from South Africa. And let me share my screen with you. You're going to see here the bots. We successfully completed defeating all the beginner bots, every one of them on the first attempt with both with white and with black. With intermediate, we had some trouble, especially starting from Emir from Turkey. But now we finally defeated Ving from Vietnam, and it's time for Nielsen from South Africa. As you see here, Nielsen's rating is 1300, and in this video I'm going to face Nielsen while I have the white pieces and Nielsen has a black. And Nielsen starts by saying to me, Molo, I have a surprise for you, your move. Let's see what surprises does Nielsen have for me. Pawn to e4 for me, my standard first move. Time to let the queen come out. And he starts with a kind of a modern opening because he would like to start with fianchetto, bishop to g7. Let's see if that will happen. My pawn goes to d4 and pawn to e6. My knight goes to 3. And pawn to h5. I think it's a little bit premature to start pushing the pawn too early. And I'm going to attack the queen. My bishop goes to g5. See how he'll respond. With a check. Now his bishop is threatened. Will he place it back to e7? I can't see anything else that is better. If I take the bishop, I help him develop. So for now, let's take the bishop back to f4 and threaten the c7 pawn. Bishop. If my bishop goes to e5, I attack his... here's a catch. I attack his rook on h8, but if he pushes a pawn to f6, my bishop is lost. So my bishop will go back to e3. He's trying to attack my king a little bit prematurely, I would say. My queen goes to d2, and I'm threatening the pawn on g5, but he's pushing it ahead. And where can I send my knight? If I send it to g5, he can attack with the pawn to f6. Only... And then where can my knight go? I think nowhere, so my knight has to go back to g1. He has a space advantage, but he's exposing his king too much. He's attacking my pawn on e4. My bishop goes to d3 to save my pawn. Pawn to h4. He's coming too near, so I'd better castle queenside. Let's first open my knight to a3. He's exchanging. Oh, yeah, then none of my places is safe, but at least I don't have to worry about his dark color bishop. Let's block his way with my pawn to g3. He's going to lose a piece or not? And take his knight. Oh, now things started being better for me. If I check from g5, he must put his pawn on f6, otherwise he loses the queen. Things start becoming better for me. If he puts his pawn on f6, what is my follow-up? Not too much. So let's continue developing. Knight goes to e2. How did you avoid my early queen attacks? What am I going to do? Oh, that's your problem, Mr. Nielsen, not mine. I want to continue developing. His weakest pawn is g4, but I cannot attack it. If I send my knight to f5, to f4, I'm threatening the check on g6 and I'm forking king and rook. Will he see it? No, but he's threatening my bishop. Is it worthwhile to take? He moves the king, I take it. It's my bishop. I'm not sure if it's safe to check here. I think let me save my bishop for now. Then let's see if I can. Oh, he saw it, he saw it, he saw it. But what if I attack the rook on 8, send my bishop on h7 and attack the rook on g8? If he sends his rook back to h8, I have the fork. If he sends to g7, I can check safely because if he takes my knight, then I can take his rook. Let's check from here. I'll send my, if I send it back to h4, at least it's safe. And now I'm going to see if I can check with the, I can check with my bishop, no, but then I lose 2 pieces for the pawn. What should I do? I definitely want to put my rooks in the game, but how? It's dangerous to castle no matter which side. Let's see if I can remove the f3 pawn because then the h4 has no support. And then the queen, but what will happen? Okay, let's first place my rook in f1 to be in the f file. I'll send my knight on f3, hoping to put it on a better square on e5, if possible. Yes, not on e5, since the knight left c6, and I'm threatening the rook on g4 and 6 and back to f8. If my bishop can check from h5, I have great. So I'm going to send my bishop to e2 to be ready to check from h5. I'm going to pin the knight. I think I can win at least an exchange. If I take the knight on f7, he must take it back. And if he takes the rook, most likely, then I'm going to win the rook for the bishop. Can I win anything better? Better not take any chances. So at this point, I'm already an exchange ahead. Can I do better than that? An exchange is not enough to win the game for me. If my queen goes to e2, threatens check on h5 and could win the pawn. My queen goes to h5 and threatens the pawn on h3. If I can win, it will be wonderful. I can win the rook on a8. Now, you see, if my queen goes to h8 and checks, I win the rook on a8. And this is a very significant material advantage, but is it enough to win? Yes, I got the rook. I have a lot of extra material. And he takes what? He takes a pawn on a3. And he threatens to take on c3 and fork have a fork because he checks, and also my rook on a1 is in danger. But let's see if I can stop it with my bishop on d2. Queen goes to h8, threatens the pawn on h3. He threatens my rook. Since I'm ahead in material, I'm not worried about some exchanges, even if I exchange what's called, if I lose another exchange. I'm going to put my queen on h3, win the pawn. If he wants to exchange everything, I'll have a rook ahead for the end. Yes, take back. Will he want to exchange queens or not? He shouldn't. But I'll exchange them for him. Oh, maybe that's why I wasn't supposed to bring my queen out. And now he says, for me, you shouldn't have. Well, now I think the game is winning for me. Let's start. Let's do finally the castling on move number 38, one of the latest times I've ever castled in a completely winning position, king to d7. And it's time to start supporting my h pawn is a passed pawn, the only passed pawn I have. I have 5 pawns, he has 6, but now she's going to have 5. So I have an extra rook and bishop. I'll start pushing the pawns. Of course, he can stop it, but then I can push on the other side. Not sacrificing. Bishop goes to f4. Pawn is in h6. I'm not sure he can stop it. Oh, let's exchange pawns since you want to exchange. Pawn to h7. Any chance for stalemate like we had last time and made a fool of myself twice? No, because he has the 3 pawns that can move, plus 1 that cannot. Which one do you want? Now let's see how can he checkmate. Queen goes to d8 check. Let me take this pawn here. I'm starting getting a little bit worried about this one, and of course you'd better be worried. A little bit too late, I would say. Now I have extra queen, bishop, and rook. She can check from c8. I can check from d8, but will that give me a winning advantage? Let's win another pawn. So long as he has the a pawn, I'm not worried about stalemate. Queen to d7 check. Only one square to go. g6. Rook to g8 check. And queen to h7 checkmate. So I beat Nilsson. How did you defend that and come out ahead? Can I get a rematch? Another video, I'll play with you with the black. Let's do the review, but before I do the review, I'll tell you that Nilsson's biggest mistake is starting too early the attack on the king side with the G and H pawns. Usually against inexperienced players, this can help you win if they don't know how to defend, but with me, he wasn't that lucky. But let's see the review. How did the game go? Well done bouncing on that free piece. Had 86.1% accuracy, he had 79.2. I played as if my rating was 2000, and he as if he was 1500. Above his 1300, that was his official one. No brilliant or great moves. Book 2 versus 1, best 23 versus 20. Excellent 19 versus 15 for me. Good 8 versus 7. In the negatives, inaccuracies, he had 7, I had 2. Mistakes, 1 each of us, and blunders, he had 1 blunder. But let's see how did it go move by move. Book until now, inaccuracy. Ideally, they want him to push the deep pawn. I thought he would have started with the fianchetto, bishop to g7. They want me to do what he did, start expanding along the h file. Of course, this was a mistake. I realize it, that he started opening too early. They want me to start with my knight going to c3 as a next move, but they want me to cover with my knight instead of my pawn. I made him waste a move and also having better control of d4. Yes, he goes to e7, the only move. I go to f4, he threatens g5, and fortunately I went to e3. If I went to What else could I do? If I went to e5 to threaten the rook, he would have sent the pawn to f6, then bishop goes to g3, and then pawn to h4, and my bishop is lost. Fortunately, I saw it. Knight to c6, queen to d2, doesn't like it. I want to threaten the pawn on g5, that's why he wants my knight to go to d2 for the development. Pawn to g4, yes. Knight goes to the beginning f1, try to have it go to e5. Knight to f6, bishop to d3, and now because he was threatening my pawn on e4, the knight on f6, and I defended it with my bishop to d3. He'd rather have my queen go to c2, but I felt why not develop also another piece. Pawn to h4, knight to a3, he exchanged it. You're forced to have isolated double pawns with ruins their structure, yes, but h3 pawn, not a good move. And I replied g3. He wants me to take the pawn, but I was afraid that he would have a pawn on h3 protected by the rook, or and this is a blunder. This is a blunder that really changes the game. Before that, my advantage was 0.36. Now it is 2.87 because his knight is not protected. I take it with my bishop, yes. I think that was the beginning of everything. Now the king messes up. Let's see, where did you do the mistake? Computer believes I made a mistake at some point. My advantage is more than around 4 or even more. Of course, with 487 advantage, even I can afford to make mistakes. At least one mistake that the computer said. This was a great move because this at least is going to take the exchange. Doesn't like it. Rather have my bishop attack the queen. Nice two. Yes, I won a rook. I'm curious, where did I make my mistake that supposedly I made? Yes, of course, the best one. Queens are out, so don't have to worry about losing my queen. The castling on move 38. And now I'm pushing the pawn. Winning some of his pawns. Didn't see any mistake I made, but maybe might have missed it. But Nelson, thanks for the game. In the next video, I'm going to face Nelson with the black pieces. That's it for now. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching this video. Let's see how far we can go with the bots. And this time I'm not stopping. If I lose, I'll try again and again. And only when I finally give up and it's impossible, then I'll stop. Let's go back to the bots. I'm the intermediate, Nilsson will play with the black. Then it is Jade from Belgium, I think, with faced Jade twice. Then it has also 1300. Then it's the 1400 bots with David from Peru, I think. Ali from Indonesia and Matteo from Argentina, if I have correct. These are the 1400 bots, and after that are the advanced. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks to your subscribers. If you have not subscribed, please consider doing so. The likes, the comments, and thanks to people that congratulated me for my wins at the Queen's Chess Club. Next video is going to be Nilsson with the black pieces, unless we have a development in the tournaments I've been following. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Harry Razanesiris. This is the Greco Chess YouTube channel. Let's switch this to the black so I'm ready next time. But for now, it's a goodbye.